Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to start examining the right of earth. And we started talking about it yesterday in the chapter of Homemade Magic here on a mystery school in your backyard. Let me adjust this thing right here. Okay. And this is what I was talking about yesterday when we got to the point where we included an eighth rite of Eleusis to go with Crowley's 7 rites, the rite of earth. And we started performing these in I'm not sure exactly when we started the Rite of Earth, but this booklet was written in 1988 for the performance of the 1989 Rite of Earth. So here's what the booklet looked like. Everybody got one of these to kind of follow along. And I just want to show you how funky things were in those days. I printed everything up on a Selectric electric typewriter and cut and paste all those borders just with glue. Here's what the title page looks like. And it's to celebrate our lodge's 11th anniversary. So 1989 was the 11th anniversary. And here's what it looks like inside. And there is, of course, the beautiful Isadora Duncan gracing the back cover. So now if we get far enough along this morning on it, we'll probably be talking about this for a couple days. Constance has agreed to read something that she always did in the rites of Eleusis. She always played Persephone. It's typecasting. I'm very Hades-like. She's very Persephone-like. But anyway, if we get that far along, she's going to come sit in. She says she doesn't want to be seen, but she'll be sitting right over here to do her part from 963. Have I confused you enough today? Well, my brain is mush. I've been house hunting. Anyway, just to back up the last paragraph we read from yesterday. For several years, we decorated our ancient garage as the underworld, and our groaning garage door opener served as the terrifying jaws of hell, which yawned open to let Hades, me, snatch innocent Persephone, Constance, and carry her off to my underground kingdom. As an act that thoroughly startled and delighted all in the audience. And I got to say, it was an ancient garage door opener, okay? It was almost a carriage house. The garage was so old. And would bring everybody out for that section. So there are several outdoor locations for this rite. And the congregation or the witness, the audience moved along with everybody. It was a wonderful thing, as we'll see. But when it came time for the mouth of hell to open up and Hades to snatch Persephone, our garage door was so slow and so old and creaky that at the right moment, the garage door went, and there we had the inside of the garage all lined in black cloth and with flames licking in it, and there were bones on the floor, and so that was the throne of, and I'd snatch Constance, Persephone, and I'd take her back in, and she was screaming, Zeus, Zeus, and I'd take her back in, and the garage door went back down. Everyone was really very impressed. Okay, here's the Rite of Earth itself, and it's taken from the commemorative handout. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Some of you might think it's a bit presumptuous of me to add an 8th rite to Crowley's original 7 rites of Eleusis. And maybe you'd be correct. Crowley's original series descends the tree of life from Binah, the sphere of Saturn, to Yesod, the sphere of Luna, but does not include a rite corresponding to Malkuth, the sphere of Earth. I certainly do not want people to think that the Rite of Earth is some recently unearthed Crowley manuscript or lost Liber. It is not. It is merely our attempt to capture and present a modest echo of the ancient Eleusinian rite of Demeter. As no one knows exactly what the candidates, and the candidates were called mysties, what the candidates or mysties experienced at Eleusis, we can only speculate from hints handed down through the works of Homer and a handful of others. For our purposes, I've relied heavily on my savagely edited treatment of the Homeric hymn to Demeter as the narrative. And I coupled that with selections from Aleister Crowley's epic poem Orpheus and his visionary works The Vision and the Voice and Liber 65, which I have used to move the play along. In addition to these selections, I've clipped the short prose piece The Earth from the Equinox, Volume 1, Number 6, which is the same volume that originally contained the 7 rites of Eleusis and the poem Nuit from Orpheus. Crowley prefaced all his rites of Eleusis with the astrologically appropriate section from J.F.C. Fuller's marvelous Treasure House of Images. I've taken the liberty of doing the same thing in our little ritual. So in other words, Crowley kicked off every one of his rites of Eleusis with at least one section. I guess there's one rite that doesn't, but most of them start off with a section from 963, which is the Treasure House of Images, which are designated by astrological signs. So the one for Earth that I chose would be the astrological sign of Taurus. And in just a moment, we may hear it recited by St. Constance Persephone here. Over the years, many people who've experienced the Rite of Earth tell us it's a fitting ceremony to conclude our seasonal performance of the rites of Eleusis, and I've encouraged us to make it available. We are happy to be able to present it to you in this privately produced format. We hope you enjoy it. Now, the whole thing is in the back of this book, Homemade Magic, which should be, the new edition should be out sometime this summer. Okay, and so in the booklet, it really starts off officially like this. Hang on. There. Starts off like this. And the first page is the officers, or the dramatis personae. Conx am pax. Love is the law, Lavender Will. Lon Milo DuQuette, Master, Haru Raha Lodge OTO, January 7th, 1989. The Rite of Earth. The dramatis personae are Hermes, the messenger of the gods, in the guise of the poet Homer. He's the narrator and stage director. He's in a yellow robe or toga. When acting as Hermes in the rite, he carries a caduceus. Next is Demeter, great earth mother goddess. She's in a white robe or toga with green and gold accents. She's covered with a thick black cloak through part of the rite. Next is Persephone, daughter of Demeter, wife of Hades. She's in a diaphanous robe. When appearing as the wife of Hades, she's wrapped in a dark shawl and wears a golden crown. Hades, yours truly, god of death in the underworld, black robe or toga. He wears a golden crown and holds a skull-topped scepter. Hecate, goddess of magic and protection, black robe with hooded shawl. She holds a lamp or flame. Iris, goddess of the rainbow and messenger of the gods, rainbow robe with golden wings. Then there's two heralds, the herald of darkness and the herald of light. They're doorkeepers. The herald of darkness is the doorkeeper permitting exit from the citadel. Black robe from which hangs a large key he wears. He or she holds a torch and an urn of wine. And the herald of light is the doorkeeper permitting entrance into the citadel. White robe from which hangs a large key. He or she holds an urn of wine also. Okay, there are other gods if casting allows. Poseidon, Helios, Apollo, and Aphrodite. But these are minor officers in this particular ceremony. If there are not enough players, their lines may be spoken by Iris. Then there's the Mysties, the congregation, the audience. The audience participates throughout as the Mysties, candidates for initiation into the Eleusinian mysteries. So that's the characters in our Rite of Earth. Here are the scenes. There are 4 scene locations, 1 indoors and 3 outdoors. Backyard. That must be arranged so that the officers in the audience en masse can move easily from scene to scene. Okay, this is the inside venue is the Citadel of Eleusis. The rite opens and closes in this indoor room. It should be large and open enough to comfortably accommodate the audience and cast. Ideally, it should have a hearth or fireplace, comfortable chairs for those who need them, and an array of floor cushions for everyone else. In the opening scene, the citadel is dimly lit with a few candles. In the closing scene, it is brightly lit with many candles and lamps. Sweet-smelling incense is continually burning during both the opening and the closing scenes. Now, the backyard venue, there's 3 scenes in the backyard, should be large enough to accommodate 3 outdoor scenes, 2 at opposite corners of the yard, the Garden of Persephone and the Throne Room of Hades, and a 3rd directly in the center of the yard, the Altar of Hecate. The Garden of Persephone is an open space in one corner of the yard, planted or displaying pots containing narcissus flowers. The Throne Room of Hades, the underworld, is at the opposite corner of the yard and is an area enclosed by black hangings and strewn with skulls and bones and emblems of death. It should be illuminated to reveal the throne of Hades and the throne of his bride, Queen Persephone. And then the third outdoor scene is the Altar of Hecate is located in the center of the yard. It is simply a waist-high altar or small table supporting a bowl of flaming alcohol. There should be room enough around the altar for the Mysties to circumambulate during Demeter's invocation of Hades. And now the rite. The rite of Earth. The rite begins in the dimly lit citadel of Eleusis, where the audience, the Mysties, are comfortably seated or lounging on floor pillows. The atmosphere is relaxed. Candles and sweet-smelling incense are burning. For the moment, Persephone is the only cast member visible. And when everything is ready, she stands and recites the 12-fold renunciation of God and the unity thereof. From Liber 963, the Taurus chapter of the Treasure House of Images. Persephone speaks.
As recited by the world's oldest Persephone. The chapter known as the 12-fold renunciation of God and the unity thereof. I adore thee by the 12 renunciations and by the unity thereof. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the kisses of my mistress, and the murmur of her mouth, and all the trembling of her firm young breast, so that I may be rolled aflame in thy fiery embrace, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the soft-lipped joys of life, and the honey sweets of this world, and all the subtleties of the flesh, so that I may be feasted on the fire of thy passion, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the ceaseless booming of the waves, and the fury of the storm, and all the turmoil of the wind-swept waters, so that I may drink of the porphyrian foam of thy lips, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the whispers of the desert, and the moan of the simoon, and all the silence of the sea of dust, so that I may be lost in the atoms of thy glory, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the green fields of the valleys, and the satyr roses of the hills, and the nymph lilies of the mere, so that I may wander through the gardens of thy splendor, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the sorrow of my mother, and the threshold of my home, and all the labor of my father's hands, so that I may be led into the mansion of thy light, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the yearning for paradise, and the dark fear of hell, and the feast of the corruption of the grave, so that as a child I may be led into thy kingdom, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the moonlit peaks of the mountains, and the arrow-shapen kiss of the firs, and all the travail of the winds, so that I may be lost on the summit of thy glory, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the goatish ache of the years, and the cryptic books, and all the majesty of their enshrouded words, so that I may be entangled in thy wordless wisdom, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the wine cups of merriment, and the eyes of the wanton bearers, and all the lure of their soft limbs, so that I may be made drunk on the vine of thy splendor, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the hissing of mad waters, and the trumpeting of the thunder, and all thy tongues of dancing flame, so that I may be swept up in the breath of thy nostrils, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee the crimson lust of the chase, and the blast of the brazen war horns, and all the gleaming of the spears, so that like an hart I may be brought to bay in thine arms, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O my God, thou mighty one, thou creator of all things, I renounce unto thee all that self which is myself, that black sun which shineth in self's day, whose glory blindeth thy glory, so that I may become as a rushlight in thine abode, and be consumed in the unutterable joy of thine everlasting rapture. O glory be unto thee through all time and through all space, glory and glory upon glory, everlastingly. Amen and amen and amen.
The conductor, Hermes, then relates the story of Demeter and Persephone to the Mystes. And that's where we'll pick it up tomorrow. We'll hear the story narrated before the action begins. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome, dear.
Continue with your week. Enjoy yourself, but be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law, love under will.
See you tomorrow.